Welcome to the Walsh Literacy Initiative's Readapalooza. This session features Melissa Butler.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
The chant of protesters heard around the country in a continued effort for equal rights under the law and the fight against racial injustice. While some very overdue changes have been initiated by the ongoing protests, let me ask you this. Is the average American aware of the inequality happening every day in our schools? Are they aware that only 19% of Black fourth graders scored proficient on national reading tests compared to 46% of their white counterparts? Do they know that reading scores for Black, Hispanic, and low-income students haven't budged in over 50 years, despite all the initiatives that have been rolled out by the federal government to help close this achievement gap? Have we considered that maybe our approach to reading instruction might actually be failing those students we are so desperately trying to help? More than a third of students learn to read regardless of the method of instruction. Most of these students have highly educated parents with ample resources, and they are disproportionately white. Others need explicit, systematic instruction grounded in the understanding of language structures and the use of instructional strategies based on scientific evidence of how the brain learns to read. Literacy must be accessible to all students, and low levels of literacy are treatable and preventable. The story I would like to share today is how we can change the trajectory for our most vulnerable populations by implementing comprehensive, scientifically proven practices that meet the needs of all students, not just those who acquire literacy without good instruction. As the former literacy coach for a large urban school district in Ohio, I have witnessed firsthand the increase in early literacy skills over the past 4 years as teachers in a pre-K-2 building embarked on a journey of intensive training in the science of reading and its implementation in the classroom in all tiers of instruction. The first 2 years of the literacy pilot work involved teacher professional development delivered in both online modules and face-to-face workshops with bridge to practice assignments and coaching support. Years 3 and 4 were full implementation of instructional strategies and routines with continued coaching support and embedded professional development. The student population of the school consisted of 44.8% Black, 30.6% white, 17.6% multiracial, and 7% Hispanic students. 100% of the students came from economically disadvantaged homes. Let's take a look at student progress over the last few years as measured by Acadian's reading benchmark goals. At the beginning of kindergarten in year 1, 39% of students were at or above benchmark in first sound fluency. Over the past 3 years, 73 to 78% of students have met or exceeded benchmark by the middle of the year. For phoneme segmentation fluency, 52% of kindergartners achieved benchmark or higher in year 1. Now, 80 to 89% are finishing the year at or above benchmark. With 56% at or above benchmark in correct letter sounds in the middle of year 1, right about the time we began some small changes in instruction, up to 74% now leave kindergarten solid in the alphabetic principle. 44% of first grade students attained benchmark or higher when reading whole words in year 1. 60 to 63% have met or exceeded that at the end of years 2 and 3. Before school closures, 62% of first graders had already scored at or above benchmark at the middle of the year. We are certain, had we tested in the spring, that those numbers would have been upwards of 80%. Oral reading fluency in first grade increased 10% from the beginning of year 1 to the middle of year 4. There were no end-of-the-year measures due to school closures. There was an increase of 13% in second grade oral reading fluency scores over 4 years. Again, there were no end-of-the-year measures for year 4 due to school closures. This is just the beginning, and there is much more work to be done. The work that will not only change achievement outcomes, but the trajectories of many student lives. You see, when students struggle with literacy, the consequences are great. Many students who are poor readers display behavior problems. Third grade students who struggle with reading are 4 times more likely to drop out of high school compared to skilled readers. They are more likely to attain lower levels of income than those who are average or better readers. And significant reading difficulties appear to put students in later elementary school at a higher risk for depression. The costs are too great. In today's world, where we continue to struggle with inequality, racial and social injustice, who is going to stand up and advocate for the children in our schools? Whether they are a child from a home with ample resources and exposure to rich oral language and literacy, or they come from an impoverished home with little access to such experiences, do they not each deserve the same opportunity? By providing access to quality instruction that is supported by scientific evidence, we hurt no one. It is the absence of such instruction that closes the door for many. In the words of Kofi Annan, former Secretary General of the United Nations and recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, literacy is, finally, the road to human progress and the means through which every man, woman, and child can realize his or her full potential. How can we deny anyone of that right? For more information on strategies, implementation, procedures, successes, and challenges, please feel free to reach out.